Shami Variawa, the workshop's a hive of activity, 5 cars. It's Dakar's looming.
Dakar's around the corner, yes, Colin. It's a couple of days away, and I must say we've been pushing the hard hours the last month or so, but the team has done an incredible job. Every department, the entire Hallspeed team pulled together and basically churned out 5 cars. So
it's a massive job there.
It's a mammoth task, to be honest. Initially it was just 3 cars, and then it went to 5 cars, and then from 5 cars it was 2 brand new cars. So we built 2 brand new cars in a matter of 3 weeks, together with redoing 3 cars completely from a frame. So you can call them 5 brand new cars, that's what you can say.
And will the guys at least have a day or 2 of rest before flying and starting the 2 weeks of endurance?
Yeah, well, the Evo car was basically, we only decided to go that route a month ago. And it was a call, do we go or don't we go? And the team decided after the test in Namibia, we did 2,600 kilometers with the car. And the team decided, well, I think that's the only route to go if you want to be quick, So we decided to do that. But in saying that, it's easy to say, let's build a Evo car in a month, basically. And you got to look at the drivetrain, you got to look at the suspension, you got to look at a lot of things that goes into play to change a car. And we've managed to do that, but you can see basically the cars are getting loaded now to fly off to the airport, and we're still making parts.
What sort of changes have you done on the Evo car? I mean, the easiest one to see is clearly you've done a lot of work on the aerodynamics.
Yeah, the aero is one part of it, but everyone knows it's wider by 100 millimeters, but there are a lot of things that we've changed in the car that I can't tell you about. That's just made the overall car much better, much better. Yazid drove a new car last weekend in Saudi. We literally just finished the car and put it on a plane and sent it to him. And he won the race, and he was very excited about the new development of what we did with the car.
Dakar's not an easy race, and to bring even though you've tested it, one race in a car, you running a lot of cars and putting a lot of eggs in one basket.
Ultimately, if I could have it the preferred way, I would have liked to have tested the Evo car at least 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers before taking it to Dakar. But we're confident. The team's confident. When we took the car for 2,600 kilometers, we really punished the car to see if we can break it, And we were happy with the outcome, to be very honest. It's something new for me. On the one side, I was a racing driver, and now I'm sort of the team owner. So the roles have changed.
Are you getting happy and more comfortable in that role?
I must say, I don't think it will ever change. I thought by me being out for a year or so will actually settle me a bit. But every time these cars start up or someone drives these cars, I just itch to drive the car, whenever we go to a race, I keep on taking my seat with just to get a drive in the car, So I think I will drive eventually, but not now.
What are you guys expecting from Dakar? You come as back-to-back winners. Win a 3rd time in a row is, in any kind of big international sporting event, is massive. With all the work and playing against some of the biggest and most well-funded teams in the world, it's a huge task.
Yeah, well, it's a totally new team. Not a new team when I say in the sense Janelli's been here for a long time. He's the most experienced of the team, of the guys, the 5-car team. But I think you got to look at 2026 onwards, and I think the focus is gone that route where there's no youngsters coming into the sport, and you need to groom youngsters to come into the sport to replace obviously the older guys. So we've taken that approach. With regard to there's a lot of things that we're busy doing, which I can't tell you.
Come on, share a little bit.
No, we're excited. We're excited of a lot of things. For one, that will be running 5 cars. It's a lot, like I say, it's a mammoth task to run 5 cars. But we're confident in the drivers. And after all, the team is positive, and positivity brings results. Expectation-wise, from the 2 rookies, from Guy and Saud, there's no expectations. It's just basically for them to get the mileage. So, and in terms of the other three guys, Lucas, Seth, and Janil, I mean, they've done Dakar, and I'm sure they can keep their heads together and know what they're doing. What's exciting is we'll be competing in a W2RC from next year. So,
with how many cars are you going to be running?
So we'll be running 2 cars from next year. So it will do the Dakar and then go to Abu Dhabi, and hopefully with Henk joining us as soon as his shoulder is, as soon as he's feeling well.
Is he going to be at Dakar to, I suppose, keep up to touch with what's happening?
I spoke to him and he says, you know what, he'd love to come, but he'll be so sad about not racing, So let's see, you never know, maybe he just pitches up there.
You go and you come and you race these 5 cars, but we look in the background and we see lots of tube and more cars being built. The business of selling cars, how's that going for you guys?
Well, look, this year has been a good year for us. We've built 11 cars. Not to mention the last one had left now a week ago, so it's actually 12 cars that we built for the year. But with regards to next year, yes, we're always building cars. But now the focus is, everyone wants the Evo. And we didn't plan for that. It's something that will be later on during the year. So we'll see. We're confident on the cells. I mean, everyone drives a Toyota. Most of the people drive a Toyota.
We've been to a couple of workshops, and by my count, in 2024, there should be somewhere between 40 and 45 brand new T1 Plus Ultimate cars built and sold out of South Africa. When you think of that in a number, it's quite spectacular on a global stage.
Look, it is spectacular. I mean, if you look at it percentage-wise, it's coming out of South Africa. That is insane. I mean, what I read about the article, and it says I think 60% or 50 or 60% of the grid in T1 Pluses or T1 Ultimate comes from South Africa. That is unheard of, to be honest. This car is number 28 of the T1 Pluses. So next year this will be probably 40.
And next year this is out of the way, gone, and there's another little... The development never ever stops, does it?
Yeah, with us we never stop developing. We continue to develop all the time. It's part of running a team, The day you stop developing is when you start falling behind.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's talk about the South African Rally Raid Championship next year. What's your presence going to look like? I love the sound of workshops.
No, I think next year will be quite good for us. I think we'll still remain on the 4 cars, provided that some of the local races don't clash with the international races. But we will run the 4 cars strong for next year. We're quite happy with what we've built and what we've achieved with this new Evo, and I can't wait for next year, to be honest. I can't wait for it. I've sat in the car, so I know what it can do.
Yeah. The other nice to see is still the embracing of the South African operation in the overall Toyota Gazoo Racing with following the new matte black livery.
Well, this is the worldwide livery they launched for next year. So the WRC, the W2RC, and I think the WEC will all run the same livery. Naturally, the GTCs locally will follow with the same suit. So that's the new colors for Gazoo. Matte black with red and white. Looks stunning. It looks beastie. It looks intimidating, to be honest.
And it's not red and white. I mean, there's so many red and white racing cars around. You mentioned GDC, and as a spectator and as a race fan, I rate it as one of the best track racing formulas that we've ever had. And are you guys committed again fully to next year?
I don't want to answer that one, but for sure we will be there. The series is great. GTC is definitely the pinnacle of track racing in South Africa, the way I look at it. It's just, it needs more cars. It needs more, 6 cars, I think it's just too little, you know. To grow this, they have to grow the series to a 10 car, 12 car, then it will be insanely nice to drive or to watch, because it's action all the way. And yeah, let's see what next year holds for us.
I'm told that the field should be 9 to start off with and then grow to 12 somewhere down the middle of the year.
That's what we hear. We don't know. For us, we have 3 GTCs. We probably run the same 3 GTCs. I have no idea what other manufacturers, whether they're coming into the sport. We'd like them to come.
And you're also running in the Super Cup now, the second sort of tier, and bringing your cars. What, you're bringing the Corolla there, or the Yaris?
We built a Starlet Super Cup. The idea behind that was a feeder. So we got the feeder, which is the Yaris Cup, and kids coming out from karting and wherever. That's the starting point. But you can't take a 14-year-old kid or a 15-year-old kid and put him in a GTC car immediately. So there was no intermediate. So what we thought of, the natural progression was Yaris Cup, Super Cup, and then GTC. So that's what we've created now. So
there certainly is, you know, there are a lot of youngsters in Super Cup now and feeding into the GDC. Which what is the new name going to be?
I believe it's SA Touring Car. I'm not too sure, but that's what I heard.
I like that name. So let's start calling it that right now. You know, to see some of the youngsters who are really, really, really quick in SA Touring cars, pushing more in there, bodes well.
For sure, but it takes time to build that class. You know, from 6 to get to 10 or 12, it's going to take some effort from everyone, from the organizers, from the manufacturers, from the privateers as well. Let's not forget about the privateers. I mean, they're the backbone of motor racing, you know. I'd like to see that 12 or 13 cars. Maybe I'll also drive one, I don't know.
It'll be magic. Coming back to you mentioned privateers. Do you have a program where you can build a version of this Evo to sell to a privateer in South Africa or anywhere in the world?
Well, the spec that we currently have is obviously full spec FIA T1 Ultimate with all the bells and whistles, all the electronics. So we were looking at it and we thought about it. In fact, I was talking to our engineers last week.
We got a good mark. Let's keep going.
I was talking to the engineers last week and I said maybe we can make a sort of not an entry level but a downplayed one without the suspension technology, but without the electronics. There's a lot of electronics that goes into this car, meaning besides the Motec and the ECUs, if you talk of running a FIA car, you got to have the Magneti Marelli sensors, you got to have the ERTF sensors, you got to have all the loggers. It's insane. In fact, if we have one car that doesn't have seats, I can show you the amount of electronics that goes into this car. So you can downplay them a bit, which we're thinking about.
Be awesome.
Privateers, huh?
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see a lot more of these cars out in the wild. I mean, Gary Bertolt's been running one of them, and it's going to be a very, very interesting race series next year, cross country, rally race.
You know, what's fascinating is when T1 pluses came about, everyone said, there'll only be 4 or 5 in a class, and that's where it'll stop. And if you look at the grid now, in T1 pluses, I think we were 17 at the last race. By next year, we should have 20 on the grid. It's the biggest T1 plus ultimate class in probably the world.
Without a doubt. And I think our series rates is one of the best series in the world as well.
There's a lot of, for sure. We have rough, we have tough, we have all the different aspects that you would encounter, or terrain that you would encounter in a normal race. There's a lot of international inquiries of people wanting to come and race in our South African series, which is actually quite nice, to be honest, and we're looking into that as well.
Lovely. Let them come and play here so we can beat them as South Africans. And on that note, 5 cars off to Dakar, South Africa versus the world. Everything of the best.
Thanks a lot. We need the support from the South African people. It's my first year as the owner of the team, but we've got a great bunch of guys here working at Hallspeed. Phenomenal. I mean, each one experienced and professional in their own way, working together to try and achieve a common goal, and the common goal is to win. We're a South African, so let's see.
On that note, Shamir, thank you very much for taking time out. Everything of the best to you, the cars, the crews, and all the service guys, the whole team. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thanks for coming.
Cheers.